Welcome to the Unstandard Podcast. I'm your host, Andre Givenchy. I'm a multidisciplinary strategist / designer and the founder of Sagern. Let's get to it. Imagine being on a mission to create something truly remarkable, something that changes lives. You've got the vision, the passion, and the drive. But despite your best efforts, you're stuck in a never-ending cycle of frustration and disappointment. The decisions you make seem to be met with resistance, and the results are far from what you envisioned. This is a problem that plagues many of us, and it's rooted in a fundamental flaw. The distance between where decisions are made and the day-to-day delivery. We've all been there. We've sat in meetings, pored over spreadsheets, and crafted grand plans, only to see them fall apart in the execution. It's as if there's a disconnect between the strategy and the reality. And that's because there is. When there is too much distance between where decisions are made and the day-to-day delivery, we risk not understanding what is truly needed. We're like architects designing a building without ever stepping foot on the construction site. We're making decisions in a vacuum, devoid of the context and nuance that comes from being on the ground. This distance breeds a culture of ignorance. We're not aware of the subtle nuances that can make or break a project. We're not attuned to the whispers of the people who are actually doing the work. And we're not sensitive to the rhythms of the market, the ebbs and flows that can either propel or sink our endeavors. The result is a frustrating cycle of failure. We make decisions, implement them, and then wonder why they don't stick. We're like doctors prescribing medication without ever examining the patient. We're treating the symptoms, not the disease. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is a way out of this cycle. It requires us to bridge the gap between the decision makers and the doers. It requires us to listen, to observe, and to understand. It requires us to get our hands dirty, to roll up our sleeves, and to dive into the trenches. I remember back in the early days, we were so focused on pushing the boundaries of technology, on creating something truly revolutionary, that we sometimes missed the mark on what people actually needed. We were so busy chasing innovation that we forgot the human element, the everyday user who interacts with our products. We were building things that were technically incredible, but sometimes they weren't quite as intuitive or as user-friendly as they could be. And the thing is, we didn't even realize it at first. We were so caught up in our own world, in our pursuit of perfection, that we lost touch with the reality of the people we were building for. It was a tough lesson to learn, but learn it we did. And that lesson was about the importance of staying connected, of bridging that gap between the ivory tower of decision-making and the trenches of day-to-day experience. Because here's the truth, when decisions are made in a vacuum, disconnected from the reality of the people they impact, it's a recipe for disaster. It's like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded, relying solely on someone else's directions. You might stumble upon the right path eventually, but it's going to be a bumpy ride, filled with scuffs, bruises, wrong turns, and dead ends. So how do we bridge this gap? How do we ensure that the decisions we make are truly aligned with what's needed, with what resonates with the people using our products, interacting with our services? It's about building bridges, about fostering open lines of communication between those making the decisions, those building the things, and those living with the consequences of every choice along the way. It's about creating a culture of feedback where every voice is heard, every perspective considered. It's about getting out of the boardroom and into the field, spending time within teams and with customers, understanding their challenges, their aspirations, and what success looks like to them. This isn't just about gathering information, though. It's about feeling firsthand what it is your people and your audience are feeling, understanding their unspoken needs and desires. It's about empathy, putting yourself in their shoes and seeing the world through their eyes. Now, for a moment, let's dream. Imagine a world where companies are no longer driven by abstract metrics, quarterly reports, or greed, but by a deep understanding of their customers, their dreams, their frustrations. Imagine a world where decisions are made with people in mind, every step of the way. Imagine a world where technology is truly human-centric and not just a part of PR, where innovation is driven by a desire to make a real difference in people's lives. That's the world I envision, a world built on empathy, understanding, and a genuine desire to serve humanity. And that's the magic that happens when we close the gap, when we bridge the distance between decision makers and the day-to-day reality of the people we serve. It's about making that connection, that human connection that sparks true innovation, true progress. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about building amazing products. It's about building products that people love, products that solve real problems, products that make the world a better place. And that's a mission worth pursuing with everything we've got. If you enjoyed this episode, share and subscribe for more. See you next time, but until then, sending you love, peace, and creativity.